Spots, tattoos, scars, infections, possible blood contamination. Those are real concerns that a viewer had when she approached WRAL Investigates.
She says these outcomes can happen because of what she considers a weak vetting process for tattooing permits in North Carolina. WRAL Investigates' Chris Lovingood found out you need more training to cut someone's hair in North Carolina than to use a needle to put permanent ink on someone's skin.
This whole story started because a concerned owner of a tattoo shop in Raleigh reached out to WRAL about what she says is easy to get, a tattoo permit.
To me, tattooing, it's like non-negotiable. It's safety.
Natascha Fuchs owns Inkvictus Studios in Raleigh. Much like any small business, it takes tough skin to operate. But Fuchs's patience for shoddy or poor tattoo artistry is paper thin.
There's been a lot of people over 5.5 years who have come to me with botched work.
What she thinks could be leading to less than satisfactory tattoos could start at the state level.
You're not required to have bloodborne pathogen education. You're not required to have any form of education, honestly, and that leads to a lot of, issues in general.
Like none. Here's what is required by the State Department of Health and Human Services. An artist has to apply for their tattoo permit 30 days before they begin tattooing. And then their local health department inspects the place where the artist will operate. After you pay the $300 fee and are approved for a permit, it's valid for 1 year. No training, no safety lessons, no tests required. For perspective, to be allowed to be a barber in our state, you need to attend 1,528 hours of barber school.
People don't even have 40 hours of training, then they might not even be insured to be tattooing you.
And I'm hearing from the tone of your voice, even 40 is not enough.
I don't think so.
Now, it's a different story for tattooing licenses in other states. Virginia requires 1,500 hours of an apprenticeship plus an exam. In Tennessee, you have to be trained in a certified tattoo shop for at least a year under a licensed tattoo artist. And South Carolina requires 1,000 hours of supervised training and the completion of a course in bloodborne pathology and tattoo infection control. I asked the state DHHS what goes into the decision-making for the tattoo licensing guidelines in our state. I also asked if there were plans to have requirements similar to those other states, including training and continued education after receiving a tattoo license. A spokesperson replied saying any changes to tattooing rules would require regulatory or statutory action. They also said feedback from people affected by the rules, public hearings, and the rules being adopted are all a part of the rulemaking process. As UNC health dermatologist Dr. Margaret Coates explains, the consequences can be much worse.
The number of patients that I've had come in that either do have one of these atypical mycobacterial infections or have a really, really debilitating allergy to one of the ink pigments, it's pretty common, honestly.
And if a tattoo artist doesn't know what's in the pigment, that could put a patient at risk for an allergic reaction. Dr. Coates says it makes sense to have some level of training when taking up the tattooing profession. She also explains some people can get an infection that can be serious.
Either they're resistant to a number of antibiotics, or they may be such that you even have to truly just cut out that skin that has the bacteria in it.
WRAL Investigates looked through dozens of tattoo complaints made in Wake County in the last 11 years. Some justified complaints included tattooing without a permit, animals in the building, illegally tattooing at home, and even a playpen in a tattoo room for the tattoo artist admitting to keeping a baby. For WRAL Investigates, I'm Chris Lovingood.
If you have a story that needs an investigation, email investigates@wral.com.